Hey everyone, Golden Ninja 3000 here again. Today I'm reviewing one of the biggest LEGO Harry Potter sets ever made. This is the new 2022 Hogwarts Express Collector's Edition, set number 76405. It's got 5,129 pieces, 20 minifigures, and it retails for a whopping $500 in the US. Now, I've made a couple of reveal videos about this. I did do an unboxing as well. And you guys know I'm a massive Harry Potter fan. LEGO Harry Potter is my favorite theme. And I really didn't like this set when it was first revealed. I complained about it a lot and I had a lot of beef with it. But you know what? Two things happened. First of all, I built it. And second of all, the Hulkbuster was revealed because LEGO Marvel is my second favorite theme. And both of those factors make this set much better. I like this set so much more than I did back in August when it was revealed. I've still got issues with it, with its execution, with the idea behind it, but I have to say I just really, really love it, and I am so glad that I ended up getting it. The 20 minifigures in this set originate from across the Harry Potter movies, but we're going to start out with two constants here. First, we have the train conductor, who I don't think is shown on screen in the movie, but I do like this face print, and I quite like the torso as well. He looks really snappy in this dark red outfit, and this is a great exclusive figure. The trolley witch is unfortunately not exclusive. I do wish that LEGO had done something more interesting for her than just repeating the 2018 minifigure, because this was a good figure, but it would have been nice to just see like a better torso on her or something. She does have the exact same hair and dual-sided face print as well. Here's Philosopher's Stone Harry. This is the same torso print that came in the Diagon Alley set in 2020. I think that this is what he was wearing on the train scene. I don't exactly remember. So it's fine from that perspective, but I do kind of wish that this minifigure had remained exclusive to Diagon Alley, but the torso was also repeated in an advent calendar. So it's just like a little bit irritating. But I do like his face print, although it is nothing new. Ron is a wonderful exclusive figure here. He has a great torso print and a wonderful face print. I really like it. That little mark beneath his eye is like the speck of dirt on his nose that Hermione like tells him about. And I love his little like candy eating face. That is just a really nice face print. And he does have a little bit of back printing, and he does get an alternate face as well, still with that smudged nose. I don't think there's anything new about Hermione here. It's the same old face print. I do really like her torso. That might be new, I'm not sure. And then she's got the triple molded legs with a little skirt, which I also really like. Not every minifigure has wands in this set, as you'll notice as we go through them. She does get one, and I honestly would have liked if everyone got one, but I do have a ton of extras, so it doesn't really matter. And there is her alternate face. Moving on to the Prisoner of Azkaban, we have Remus Lupin, an exclusive variant in his shabby robes, which I think look really great with all of that scratched up printing. This is the same face print from the new Whomping Willow set. Great pack printing there, by the way. So that means that he does have the werewolf transformation face, which does not really fit this scene, but I mean, I don't think they needed to make a new face print for him, and this one does work perfectly. This is a decent version of Harry, but I can't tell if it's new or not. I didn't look up like all of these minifigures. I think most of them have new torsos, but if this is new, it is similar to other stuff that we've seen from Harry in the past. It's still a really nice print though, and he just has the regular face print that he's had in these sets. And he does have medium-sized legs, which are always nice to see. I love Ron's torso print here. I think that this looks excellent, and obviously all of these kind of generic clothing torsos are really good for integrating into custom like minifigures for your city if you wanted to buy duplicates of them somehow, even though they'll probably be pretty expensive since they're exclusive to a set like this. There is his usual face print, but I just really like it when LEGO does super detailed casual clothing like this in the Harry Potter theme. This sweater is one of my favorite outfits for Hermione just because it is so colorful and nice to look at. She also just has her regular face print, nothing new here, which, I don't know, this might have been a good place to introduce newer face prints for these guys because we did get a couple of new face prints in 2022, but I mean, I think they were like battle damaged faces, and so like it might have been smart to use some of the budget for this set to make new faces for these minifigures that LEGO could reuse in 2023 and beyond. Our final Prisoner of Azkaban minifigure is just a generic Dementor. These guys have remained unchanged since 2018. They are really awesome minifigures, don't get me wrong, but I'm always going to prefer the ones from 2010 because I love the ghostly like bottom piece instead of legs for these guys. That is just an excellent mold in general, and I think it does work for them. But I miss when they were on like skeleton legs and they had like cloaks that would go over the front of their bodies as well. So I kind of wish LEGO would bring that back. We have a great face print there, and then there is no detail on the back of their head. And oh, I thought they had some back printing, but nope, just a plain back torso. Half-Blood Prince Harry might be one of my favorite minifigures in the set just because of that awesome face print with his broken glasses from after Malfoy attacked him. I think that's just such a nice face print, especially because Harry always has broken glasses. Love the torso print too. I think it's new, but again, it is very similar to stuff that we've gotten in the past. Unfortunately, he just has a smiling face on the other side though. And I do think that that's annoying because if you're going to make a new face print anyway, just make a new face print for the other side as well. We got this version of Luna in the first minifigure series actually, and LEGO did a very good job on her there. This one is definitely not as good. I do really like the torso print. I love the like the Spectra specs on her face. I think that is a perfect look for Luna, and I do really like the dark blue satchel as well. But her skirt is printed on while it was a cloth piece in 2018, and also she has long legs, which isn't right. She should have medium legs because she's a year younger than Harry, so according to LEGO's own rules, I think she should still have medium legs. But also like the pink on the blue is just printed horribly. Like that's just really bad quality, and there's no side like printing for the skirt, so it doesn't continue. Which again, like that's just kind of weak in a set that is this expensive. Same old hairpiece, which I love. And then she does have a slightly new expression on the reverse, which I really like. And finally, we've got Draco Malfoy himself. I do like his torso print a lot with that Slytherin snake on his tie, but I wish LEGO would make a new face print for him. I don't like this face print. It's like some generic Star Wars character's face that they use for a bunch of characters. And it definitely works okay for Draco. But again, of all places, I feel like the $500 set would be a great spot to introduce a new face print that looks more like him. And now we get to the minifigures everyone was most excited for, the Deathly Hallows Part 2 epilogue figures. So this is older Harry, and this minifigure is just so perfect. I love the torso print, although again, it is just casual clothing. His face print though, it's so nice. It's so nice to see LEGO do like a grown-up Harry as an actual official minifigure, because I honestly wasn't sure if we would ever get this, and I'm really glad that we did, because I love his face. Ginny Weasley looks decent. I like her torso, but that skin color is not correctly printed on. Like that is basically white. It is not like LEGO's light nougat color, and I hate her hair. Her hair looked nothing like this in the epilogue scene. Like this is just completely wrong. So, I mean, I'm going to harp on that more in a second, but her face print, that is perfect. Perfect Ginny face, like perfect disapproving mom face. I love that so much. I do like that face quite a bit as well. But the thing with this hairpiece is that LEGO slaps this stupid over-the-shoulder hairpiece on any female minifigure, regardless of what their hair looks like. They put it on so many minifigures. It is just absolutely infuriating to me because she has a bob in this scene, like, or at least like shoulder-length hair. And there are way better hair pieces that LEGO has that would work for her. So I really, really hate that they keep using this stupid piece over better ones for any like female minifigures. Doesn't matter in any theme. Like it could be Marvel, Star Wars, Harry Potter. They will just keep using this stupid piece and they need to stop. And then we get their kids, who I also think are kind of mediocre minifigures. So this is James Sirius. Again, I like the torso print. He's got medium-sized legs and Cole's hairpiece from the LEGO Ninjago movie. I don't know if his face is new or not because it looks like kind of new to me, but I feel like this face doesn't really fit the character, which makes me think that it's been reused. Because it's just kind of generic. Like, I feel like it looks really plain and like nothing exciting. Then we get Albus Severus, who I think LEGO just really dropped the ball on. His torso looks good, although it also reminds me of the clothing that the fish and SpongeBob wear. And his face print is so generic. It's just the regular, like, general LEGO child face, which is really stupid to me because he doesn't have freckles. And then also the hairpiece, the style doesn't fit, nor does the color, because he had brown hair, like dark brown hair in the epilogue scene. So I think that this is just a lazy excuse for a figure. And the same goes for Lily Luna. I like her hairpiece, I like her torso print, but her hair did not look like this in the movie. She, again, just has a very generic sad child face print. And I think the freckles are more fitting on her because I believe the child actress did have freckles in the movie. But again, make a new face print. It is their children. Like, don't just use generic faces that you would slap on any minifigure instead of actually spending the money to make good exclusive figures in a set like this. And speaking of using your budget better, our final 2 minifigures are just generic Hogwarts students. So we have this child who is a Ravenclaw student, and I really like the torso print, love the skirt, love the legs, love the face print, love the hairpiece. She does have a very nice new printed ticket, which is just it's a really, really cool print, and it is exclusive to this set. So I appreciate LEGO making that, and you do get 2 of them here. But why are we getting generic students in this set instead of like adult Ron and Hermione? It's true that I think this face print isn't new. I think that this face print was in the Hogwarts Magical Trunk set. So it was probably cheaper for LEGO to do this than to give us adult versions of Ron and Hermione. But we could get random students in literally any set, and you could only do adult Ron and Hermione in this set, and they would actually fit the scene that the rest of the minifigures are from. Our very last figure is a generic Hufflepuff student, and again, like, I don't understand why these guys were thrown into this set. It seems like LEGO just wanted to have some more diversity in the minifigures, and there's nothing wrong with that. I really appreciate when they do that. But we got a bunch of generic students in the Hogwarts Trunk set, with a lot of different skin tones and everything. And I really don't think we should be getting generic students to just throw some diversity into Harry Potter at the expense of Ron and Hermione. Because Harry Potter is a very white franchise, which is like that's its own problem. But this set was not the place to include 2 random students instead of Ron and Hermione, or include the random students and Ron and Hermione. There's nothing stopping this set from having 22 minifigures, but to get them for the epilogue scene instead of Harry's best friends, who we can't really get in any other set because adult versions of them wouldn't fit in anything else, that just really hurts and it really stings. And I think that it was a very stupid choice on LEGO's part to not include Ron and Hermione. This set is just absolutely huge. It is extremely long. I think it's longer than maybe even Diagon Alley, because I'm at school, and this desk is actually longer than the one I built Diagon Alley on, and this train track like almost reaches end to end, but it's not quite as long as the Titanic. I think that this is like it's over 40 inches, but I forget the exact measurements. So it's very impressive, and it is very hard to film, which is why usually I have my backdrop going like over the entire table, but I could not do that today because then I wouldn't be able to move anything around because it's really hard to slide plastic over cloth. So you've got a couple main components here. You have the long train track, then you've got the train itself, which consists of the locomotive, tender car, and passenger car, and then you've got this platform 9 3/4 build right in front. But we're actually going to start out by talking about a really random little thing that's included in the set. In this set, LEGO includes this really intricately designed printed piece. This is basically a life-size ticket for the Hogwarts Express, and that's just really awesome. It's the same design as the smaller minifigure tickets, and I love the detail. It says London to Hogwarts for one-way travel, platform 9 3/4 with the Hogwarts logo, and issued subject to the rules and regulations of the Hogwarts Express Railway authorities. And I love metallic LEGO printing, and the gold on here really shines. It is a very deluxe piece. It's just on an 8x16 tile like UCS plaques, but it is completely random. There is nowhere to put it. You kind of just have to leave it like sitting around. Like there's no stand or anything for it. LEGO just shows it standing up on the side, like in the instruction manual and everything. And actually the instruction manual literally says like, oh, look, we gave you this cool piece. If you own the Hogwarts Icon set, like just throw this in a pile with that. And I'm kind of just like, okay, like this is a really cool piece. It's a really nice piece, but like why include it if you don't have any place for it in the set and you're telling me to just chuck it into a pile of something I already own? But with that random piece, which is still very nice, by the way, I like it a lot. I just think it's very random inclusion, and that budget might have been better spent elsewhere. With that out of the way, we can start out by looking at the actual build. I think I'm going to start with the train station first, just because I'm going to have to like take all of this apart to show you guys. So it's a very nice train station, as you can see, and you can also notice some technical holes in the train track, which we'll take a closer look at soon. But for starters, all you have to do is just pull this off and you can easily remove it. So there's a bunch of holes in the train track that let you place this like anywhere along its length. But I really like that. I think that it's really nice to kind of make this so modular that you can, take it off and put it on to either side. So this is the back of the platform, the side that faces the train. I do like that Lego still kept like some nice detail in here, even though it is like entirely hollow. Like there's still archways and there's still some pillars. And so you've just got a couple of Technic axles and then some Technic pins just to hold it in place. And I will not be removing the train from the background because that thing is just like way too hard to move. So it's just going to be chilling back there while we examine this station. But like the detail back here is pretty plain. Like you do have some stickered platform 9 3/4 signs, which we'll take a closer look at on the other side. And the only real thing to talk about here is this nice kind of wrought iron detail made using some flexible hoses. And then one of Nakia's swords from Black Panther in black. And that is a pretty cool design, I think. The other side is where all of the action is happening, though. I do really love the design of this station, or this platform, I guess. I liked it when the pictures were revealed, but you guys know, I think it's like really weirdly small. It's a very impressive size, don't get me wrong, but when you frame it against the back of the train, it only covers like a third of the actual train. And I mean, I don't expect Lego to make a platform that covers the entire length of the train, because then you wouldn't be able to see the train, and also like that's kind of just ridiculous. No one needs that much train platform. But what I really hate about this platform design in particular is these half arches. I like that Lego tried to get like the paneling like in a curve, but I really don't like those gaps. I don't really think that they could have made them any smaller using this technique, but I just think it looks kind of clunky. I love all of the brickwork and everything, especially, and I do like, like the pillars here, but yeah, just like these curves, I don't think they look the best. And yeah, like there are arches disappearing into the distance effectively. Like you have two half arches, and so it's supposed to be like, oh, like yeah, like they're just blending away into nothingness. But then this train just keeps going. So what you're left with is a station that's disappearing into nothingness while the train behind it keeps going. So that's what I really don't like about this station. That is my biggest problem with it. I don't want a station that covers the entire length of the train. I'm being perfectly clear about that. I just think that Lego should have had 3 full arches so that the train was covered, so that half of the train was covered. Because having something that covers a third of it but doesn't like fit with it, I just think it's very awkward. I think the arches look very awkward just going away into the darkness when there's nothing for them to disappear into. Like, see, if I put it at the end of the train, then that makes a little bit more sense because the train is ending as well. So it looks like a natural stopping point. But when there's more train, it just looks strange. So I think everyone else might not feel the same way, but I just think it's like a super awkward design. And like they either should have just made the platform smaller or made it bigger, but this kind of weird in between really bothers me. But like I said, I do really love all of the detail here. I think that the masonry bricks look awesome. I love the little platform 9 3/4 sign. This is, unfortunately, these are stickers. There are way too many stickers in this set, way too many. And those definitely should have been prints, but they look pretty nice. These flags also should have been prints, but they look fine. And then, of course, we've got the little quotes. These quotes kind of carry us through 4 different movies. So I am starting at the end a little bit because this is from Deathly Hallows Part 2, where Albus asks Harry what if he's put in Slytherin. And that is a well-known moment. And so I do really like having everybody clustered on the platform like this. There are jumpers to position them on. And so, I mean, I don't really love the Lego quote tiles in general. I've said that in previous reviews. And I don't really love them here either, but they do make nice little scenes. Like, I like having this little family scene with them. It just would have been even better with Ron and Hermione. The lanterns are pretty nice builds. Unfortunately, this is all pretty flimsy. Like, it's not going to fall down. It's just connected with a couple of Technic axles, but the amount that it can shake really, really bothers me. Because, like, I mean, again, I don't know how they could have done it better besides, because this is not built like entirely studs up. It's actually kind of built like upside down, and it's a very interesting build. So I see what Lego was trying to do here, but this just doesn't feel right at all to me, even though it looks really good. And then pretty much the last thing to talk about here is like the little UCS style plaque, which is located at the base. This is pretty nice, but again, absolutely should have been a print in a $500 set. It just has some information about the Hogwarts Express in universe. and I do like it. I always love it when Lego includes plaques like this, even in a set like this that is entirely minifigure scale with a lot of minifigures included. I don't think it needed that, but I'm glad that they threw it in there. And I know I've been jumping around a little bit with this train station, but we do have, again, more nice like pillar detailing at the bottom, a lot of nice arches. This thing is pretty heavy. Like, this feels like a very good build to me. And again, I think that the size is impressive. I thought it would look even smaller than it does in person, so I'm glad that it doesn't. And then you've got like some nice round pieces off to the edge here. And the entire thing is tiled over, which I really appreciate. Like I said, there are jumpers to position minifigures, so it's really easy to just take them off and then put them back down. And then you've also got a couple of little cart builds that I do want to go over while we're on the platform. So this Hufflepuff student has a cart with an owl. That is one of the newer owl prints that looks pretty decent. Inside, you just have a stickered window pane showing some clothes and stuff. Built up stuff would have been even better, but you know, like, because I don't love it when Lego does like stickers of clothes and things like that, because the same thing happens with Albus. There is a wand box. I always love seeing that piece. I think that this is like the only set it's been in besides Diagon Alley, but it's a very nice piece. And then when you open that up, he's got clothes in there as well. It just feels kind of like Lego Friends, like where Lego Friends will have stickered details on walls instead of building them up with bricks. And again, in a $500 set, it would have been nice to see like other stuff in there besides like a sticker with some clothes on it. Moving on to the train itself, I hope you guys enjoy this image of it all together, because this is probably the last time in the review you're going to see this. This thing is so freaking long. Yes, I did complain when it was revealed that we are just getting a locomotive, a tender car, and a passenger car, because that is what we have gotten with every Lego Hogwarts Express, and I was really hoping that we would get 2 passenger cars in a set like this. And you know what? I still kind of wish that we had gotten 2 passenger cars, because I think that this would look even better with a second passenger car. But because this is completely minifigure scale, yeah, it would be very difficult to do that, because it would just get too long. Like, this, again, already almost does not fit on my desk. So I understand why Lego did this, but it does make it exactly the same as previous Hogwarts Expresses, even though it's at like a very increased scale. And that is the one thing I want to say before we dive into the details of this set. I felt pretty much the exact same way building this $500 model that I felt like building a regular $80 Hogwarts Express. Yes, everything is bigger. Yes, it's more detailed, but it really felt kind of the same. And there's a lot of factors for that. I would say that the passenger car felt the most different, and there's some interesting building techniques in the locomotive that differentiated it. But this was a very fast build. I built this entire set total in like just over 9 hours. For comparison, Diagon Alley took me 16 plus hours. And so I feel like as a model, I do quite like this set, but I'm not getting like the same kind of value for money through the building experience that I have with other direct-to-consumer sets. The train is attached to this built-up railway track base, which you guys might know I hated when it was first revealed, because I thought it was a massive waste of parts. I still think it's a massive waste of parts. It looks really good, that was never in question, but I still kind of think it was a massive waste of parts. I do not like how much budget went into the train track. Again, it looks amazing. I love having this thing just displayed on one little stretch of track, but I just am also sitting here thinking, oh my God, think of how all of these stupid stickers could have been printed if they didn't waste money on this. So the reason I am lingering on the track right now is because the locomotive is actually attached to it completely with studs. The other 2 cars can roll back and forth if you disconnect them, but the locomotive itself cannot. And that's actually because of a play feature that we'll take a look at now, or not play feature, just a feature that we'll take a look at now before I have to take it off the track. And that is that if you turn this crank, you can actually like kind of see the wheels moving. This is a pretty cool feature. I do like it. Again, all of this can roll off the track. It just can't really go anywhere on the track because it's so small. But I like that you can still show this off. Like, this feels good to me. And again, while building the locomotive, this was one of the parts that like really differentiated it for me. And then the other nice thing is that if you don't want a crank sticking out of your Hogwarts Express all the time, you can just take it off. Unfortunately, then you can't really like do the function because it's really hard to turn it with like just your nails. But I do like that you can easily remove it. It just would have been even better if there was somewhere to store it, because I'll tell you guys right now, the tender car is entirely empty, and I feel like it would have been nice to have somewhere to put this. The train links together very easily. All you have to do is lift each car off because they just kind of slide onto axles at either end. So it's really simple to pull them off, except for the locomotive, like I said, which is entirely attached to the base using studs. So actually when I pull it off, it tends to, come away with some of these. So there's just like some clear stands that are left behind on the track. But the clutch power is strong, which is good. It just means that sometimes some of those get picked up with it. And we might as well just take a quick look at the track before moving on to the train properly. Again, sorry for jumping around so much. It's just, with a set this big with so many elements, it's hard to know how to review it. We have these like old style railway track pieces that are built up on jumpers because this train is so much wider than what would fit on a standard Lego track. These are the supports, like I said, for the locomotive. There are no supports for the other cars. And again, like I said, this looks really good. It was a very repetitive build, so I definitely rushed the building of the track. Like I was just like grinding this thing out. I actually pulled an all-nighter before going home for Canadian Thanksgiving so I could finish building the train. So it was a lot of fun. I quite enjoyed myself. But this was definitely the most boring part of the build. Like the passenger car takes a very long time to assemble, but this was just quite boring, which is why I'm glad that you built it after the locomotive. Like you didn't build this at the end or the start or anything. There are these Technic pins, as I previously mentioned, to put the station in. I like how modular that is, but I don't think this needed to be 2 bricks high. I understand why it's 2 bricks high, so that you can have this kind of modular attachment and then also have like the sloping. And I do like the sloping, but I don't know. I feel like maybe the train station didn't really need to be attached. Again, I feel like too many parts go into building this. It looks good, but it is a very boring build and it's just very parts intensive. It's actually built in 2 sections. So if you pull up the track pieces here, you can just split this thing apart. And I'm very happy about that because that will make it very easy for me to transport home because I will not be dismantling this. And then flipping it upside down, you can just see a little bit of how it was built. But yeah, I don't know. It's like this was one of my biggest problems with the set before I built it. And now that I've built it, I feel a little bit better about it because like I said, I do really like it. But at the same time, I don't. So here's the locomotive and it is quite big. Let me grab the conductor out of the back there so that you guys can see a comparison with a minifigure. It's huge. But again, honestly, it gives me the exact same vibes as a regular locomotive. And part of that is because of the color. This is in flame yellowish orange and regular Lego red. The Hogwarts Express is not these colors. The Hogwarts Express would be like Lego's dark red with pearl gold. And that is also a sticking point for me. I really don't like that this set looks so toyish when it's supposed to be an adult collector's display model. The designers addressed this and they said that they chose not to go with dark red because dark red might look brown in certain lighting conditions. And I understand that, but then take better pictures when you're advertising the set so that it doesn't look brown. The other problem with dark red, and by the way, this is Lego's dark red color. The other problem with dark red is that it's very inconsistent. Like you can get wildly different shades of dark red from piece to piece, and you can actually kind of see a little bit of it on this minifigure because the torso is a little bit darker than the legs. So I get why Lego didn't do dark red, but I still would have preferred if they just went for it because honestly, they shouldn't have those color difference issues. They are a multi-billion-dollar toy company. They should have better quality control than that, especially at this point in their like evolution. So I really would have preferred dark red and gold because I don't like the yellow and I don't really like the regular red. Because again, the regular red is what they use on the toys. And so that contributes to making this just feel like one of those smaller locomotives. It was a fun build, but it was very quick. I think I built this thing in less than 2 hours, like the locomotive itself. I think the locomotive and the track actually together took me like 2 hours. And Lego tried to like achieve the narrowing look because the Hogwarts Express does like start out bigger towards here and then narrow towards the front. They did that by building like different assemblies using like Technic pieces and a very interesting build. Like these sections were super interesting builds to me but they're not entirely successful because you can clearly see it like it looks like a telescope. It looks telescopic. It doesn't look like a cylinder that narrows, and I know that that would be very hard for Lego to do, and I'm sure the designer did the best they could. And it's not a huge thing, especially from a distance, but up close, you can very clearly see that it looks like stepped. And I also don't love how block-like this section is. Like, this part really like isn't rounded that well, and the more I look at just this section, the more I don't like it. You do have these little Hogwarts Castle prints on the side, which look excellent. Those are the same prints as the 2018 set, and then you've got flexible tubes that go along the length, and that also looks pretty nice. I also really like the way the front of this thing was built. It's using like one of these newer pieces that I haven't really seen before, like for studs not on top of building, and everything is tiled over again, except for a couple of studs, and I do like that look. And then up at the front, you've got the 5972, and then this is a sticker that should absolutely be a print. Putting stickers on pieces like this that are curved, this is the 3x3 curve, this is the 4x4 curve, this is a print, which I'm happy about, but that should absolutely be a print as well. Putting stickers on that stuff is infuriating. Everything in this set honestly should have been a print. And we're gonna, again, talk about that more in a bit. I also like the little bumpers at the front. They're just built using this pretty simple technique of putting these Technic pieces in between studs. And I do like the wheels. I think that they developed new wheels for this set, if I'm not mistaken. I think that this was a new mold, like the larger wheel. But I'm not a Lego train enthusiast, so please like correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. You've got little steps going up to the side, and these are also prints, these little curved 2x2 macaroni tiles, and that just blends in perfectly with like the actual brick built section. These are stickers, and yeah, I wish that they were prints. I don't like, Lego does not do stickers across multiple parts anymore, which is good, but that also means that there's a big gap here. They don't have a piece that could have fit this section any better. But yeah, again, that's just not the greatest look for something like this. Inside, I don't think the roof is not easily removable, but you do have some nice detail back there, and you can put the conductor in here, which is where I like sticking him because there are a couple of jumpers. You do also have some nice arches down in the bottom, and then this is where the locomotive can connect to the tender. So it is a pretty good build, and I do, like I said, I do like it overall, but I do kind of wish the color was different. Because again, this thing's massive. It's absolutely massive, but building all of these cars does just feel like building a bigger version of a toy and not really like a super high-end collector set. And you really feel that concept with the tender. The tender car is like, tender cars on trains when it comes to Lego are kind of hit or miss for me. Sometimes they're cool, sometimes they just feel like filler. This one, I think it's cool because it is properly long, like it is much more rectangular, whereas other like minifigure scale Hogwarts Expresses have very often had square-ish tender cars. And I really like the framing that Lego built up here. This is made using like rail pieces that are on top, on the bottom, and then on their side. And I think that that looks excellent because it really does provide like a nice amount of depth. But why on earth is this piece in the center stickered? You can see that I applied it slightly off center, which is very annoying to me, but I can't fix it. These pieces on the side being stickers with like cutouts for like this circular piece, I think that's okay. I don't really think that those needed to be prints. This should have been a print. Anything on a circle or anything that repeats should have been a print. And again, it is so cheap of Lego for this to be a sticker, for honestly a lot of these things to be stickers, especially the quote tiles, which we'll get to. It is so cheap of them for that to be a sticker with the amount that we are paying for this set. But you know what? Again, after seeing the Hulkbuster, a lot of my problems with this set have been lessened because I'm like, wow, it could always be so much worse. So this thing is entirely empty. It is very light for how big it is. Like, it's still got a good heft to it, but like it is much lighter than you would expect, like if you just picked it up. You do have some coal built up on top, which I do appreciate. But like, that's it. Like, the entire thing is basically hollow. And there is some support in there and everything, but I don't know. It's like, it's not like I'm asking for it to have been full of coal, but I'm like, why aren't there lights on this thing? Like, Lego could have put lights on the train, like on the locomotive, and then the tender could have been housing for the battery box, which is often the case with other Lego trains. So I do feel like they could have done something here. Like, I don't think they could have put a motor on this set as I initially wanted because there's really nowhere for it to go. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen lights or something with all of the electronics being housed in the tender instead of it just being like a completely empty thing. I do like the little like kind of wheel coverings here, and then underneath you can kind of see a little bit of how the wheels are built, but there's really nothing else to this car. The passenger car is where all of the excitement is. I think that this thing looks excellent. Again, would have looked even better in dark red, but I really, really like what LEGO's done here. Again, like I said, completely minifigure scale. Sorry for saying again so many times. And I really love that it doesn't look like the Hogwarts Express is shrunken down, because that's what it looks like in toy form, because it's a toy. And so yes, even though I wanted a second passenger car in this set, this kind of model of locomotive, tender, and passenger does work a lot better than I expected, because they're all like their proper proportions now, which again is a lot more than I can say for other recent LEGO sets. So I quite like this. You've got a couple of doors, big windows, obviously. We'll take a look at that in a second. You do have doors for the actual car, like on the end, which this just looks excellent. Like, I love this doorway. I love these train door pieces in general and how you can open all of them. You've got lights and levers and everything on the side. You've got like the little bumper sections down here, and this can actually turn, so that, you know, obviously the car can actually turn if you're trying to like drive this along the floor or whatever, since there's no track to drive it on. This is the other side. They are built slightly differently, and you'll see why in a second. But then the other thing I want to talk about before we get to the interior is how much I like the wheel detailing down here, using these Technic pieces to look like springs. I think that that is quite effective, and I really like this kind of suspension rail look at the bottom. The other end has more doors. You don't have stairs down from these compartments, obviously, because it just pulls up flush to the platform, when it's on the track at least. And the one thing that I don't like about the appearance of this thing is the roof. I do not like having these gray parts stick up. And if you know anything about this set, you know why there are gray parts. It's because these are actually light bricks that illuminate the interiors of the compartments, which is a really cool function. But like, again, $500 set, LEGO, have some class, you know, like cover that stuff up. Like, it looks really bad to have a car that looks this good and then have like these massive gray things just sticking out of them. So I think that LEGO could have like sunken these down into the train a little bit more and then covered them up so that it looked a little bit more flush with the roof. I don't think it would have looked perfect, but I think that they could have like found a way to cover this up with like some black a little bit. So I do want to take a quick look at the light bricks before we fully open this thing up, because it is really, really awesome to see them illuminate the compartments from the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off my lights. And it is now very dark, but if you just push on these, you can see just how much it lights up. And it's such a warm, inviting, like yellow glow. It just feels very homey and very classic. And I really love that LEGO included this feature, even though I thought it was a little bit useless when I first saw it. As for interior access, minifigures can obviously get in there through the doors, all of which, like I said, open, but actual humans can get in through a combination of LEGO's classic removing roofs, and then also just taking the entire walls off of these sections. So you've got 3 wall sections for these 3 compartments. You've got 2 roof sections, one at the front, one at the back, and then you've also got a longer wall that you can remove at the back over here. And I do want to say quickly, I think that all of these are built very nicely. You do have a lot of like work put into the tops to make them like overhang the compartments while only having like the fronts be removable. And yeah, I just think that these are great builds and they were a lot of fun to put together. So we're going to start at the front of the train because that is where you get on. So I'm just going to kind of tilt this entire thing so that you guys can see inside. I've got the trolley witch positioned there just because I think that that is the best place to put her. In this section, you have a bunch of trunks stacked up, so one for each house. So it goes Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, Slytherin, and Hufflepuff. It is a little bit hard to see, but I think that that is a great addition. And then you do have a little bulletin board over here. So, or a notice board, sorry, but that is a pretty nice sticker and you can see a bunch of details on there. And I do want to just take the trolley witch out so that we can take a quick look at her trolley, which is a pretty fantastic build. It's very compact, but you've got some Birdie Bots every flavor beans. You have some stickers showing some more sweets, including chocolate frogs. And then even on the other side, you have a sticker. So I do think that that's pretty nice, although it is a little bit cramped for her to push it along the corridor at the back. Coming to the first compartment, you have our first quote. which is, has anyone seen a toad, as spoken by Hermione when she encountered Ron and Harry for the first time in Philosopher's Stone. I think that this is an absolutely iconic moment, perfect for this train. I love the little scene that you can set up here. I do really like how cushy the seats look. We've got Scabbers on the ground and a bunch of sweets. So we have Birdie Bott's Every Flavor Beans and a chocolate bar. Ron is holding a little, oops, sorry, I did not realize it was so out of focus there. Ron is holding a little peppermint swirl. Harry is holding a chocolate frog. And then you do have these little stickered pieces of like Hogwarts, like showing pictures, which is pretty nice. And then these, I think, are supposed to be the luggage racks. I don't know how these small little children would reach that to put stuff up there. And they are standing in their seats because they've got the short legs. But overall, I think that that is, like I said, an iconic scene, and it is a really nice look. I love these compartments because the Hogwarts Express sets that are made like as toys, they don't really have proper compartments because they're so small. Like there's not really any room to do anything other than 2 chairs sitting there. So I do like that LEGO was finally able to give us like that proper build here, because I love the Hogwarts Express, I do love trains, and I think that this is just perfect. Our next scene is, I think, someone's coming aboard, which is when the Dementor enters the train in Prisoner of Azkaban and Lupin repels it. So you've got all of the minifigures from Prisoner of Azkaban in here, along with a little bottle, which obscures the scene a tiny bit. And then you can angle the Dementor to be facing towards Harry, which I do like. But I don't think that this is a very iconic, like, quote. Like, yes, this is a well-known scene on the train, but I don't really think it needed, like, a quote. Like, that's why I was very unsure about these quotes when it was first, like, brought up that we would be getting quotes. And, I mean, now's a great time to talk about this as well. So first of all, I think that the quotes are a little bit useless. And then second of all, they're stickers. Again, stickers on curved pieces. Putting a sticker on this thing and centering it is pretty annoying. It's not impossible. It's not, like, super hard, but it is just annoying. And bear in mind, LEGO has made quote sets now. They've made multiple for Star Wars. They've made them for Jurassic Park. Now they're doing it for Harry Potter. And in every other theme, the quotes are always printed. And in this set, they are stickers. Again, super cheap, super lazy, and just absolutely stupid. These should all be prints. These would be very nice prints with like nice metallic like pearl gold. And instead they're just like these dumb little stickers. So that makes me like them even less. And I really think that if LEGO wanted to do this quote idea, they should have shelled out to print them. This exact piece was printed for the Hogwarts Icon set. It didn't have a quote on it. It had a LEGO Harry Potter logo on it. But we know that LEGO can print them. We know that they look amazing when they are printed. So LEGO should have printed them instead of making us put cheap stickers on them. And finally, our third compartment is quite different because it's kind of like mass seating rather than individual rooms. I do like how much more open it is than the other two, but this scene did not need to be like a quote thing, and I thought it when we heard about this set, and I think it now. It's from Half-Blood Prince when Harry's like attacked by Draco when he's spying on them using the cloak. And then he's like stuck on the train, and then like Luna has to come like save him or whatever. It's a nice scene, sure, but it is nowhere near as iconic as the trio meeting for the first time. It's not even as iconic as the Dementor coming aboard. And I feel like you can tell that they struggled to come up with a quote because it's Luna talking about rack spurts. And I love Luna, and I love how quirky Luna is. But is this scene really as iconic as the trio meeting for the first time? Like, no. So I mean, it's not that offensive because it's not like there's something better that LEGO could have put here instead. But I do think that, again, this is why the quotes are like not really needed. That being said, I do love this scene because the compartment is more open than the other two. And I love how defeated and sad Harry looks with his little like broken glasses. I love that he's just like laid out on the floor like he's having a really bad day. So I think that that's excellent. And I do like how there are actual chair pieces in here that are kind of like built up into the side, because I didn't talk a lot about the chairs in the other compartments, which maybe I should have because I feel like I'm glossing over it a bit, but these are like fully built up. They're fully built up, and you can put like minifigures with regular legs in them. You can put minifigures with short legs in them. But I like that the ones down here have actual seats, like LEGO seat molds integrated into them with like, again, a lot of kind of extra detailing. I think that that looks really nice. And they even have like these nice little armrests and stuff. I had a good time building that. And then back there, you've got even more. I think there are 3 seats back there and 4 in here, so you can fit 7 figures in this area. And there are jumpers so that, again, you can position people on the ground. And I like that. I really love it when Lego fully tiles over an interior to make it look good, but then they still leave jumpers so that it's easy to actually secure your minifigures to the floor. And if you open the door down here, that is where Malfoy himself is lurking after having attacked Harry. So that works out pretty well. This is the rear entrance, as I previously showed you guys. But what's even cooler is that there is an actual door to get into like the compartments, and you'll see the same function when we get to the other side, but it is kind of easier to see through here. And this is just like a Lego, please focus better. There we go. This is just a Lego door frame piece that is printed that you can then like slide along the floor to get access. And I was sliding it the wrong way, sorry about that. But it is kind of wonky. Like, as you can see, it does like tip like forwards and backwards. And that's because it's caught by a rail at the top. I feel like I'm giving you guys really bad angles, sorry about that. It's caught by a rail at the top, but then it's just like on studs on the bottom. So it doesn't like slide the smoothest, and that does annoy me a tiny bit. Okay, spinning this thing around, you can't remove like this section or anything, so it is going to be a little bit difficult for you to get minifigures back there, but you can do it, of course. And then here is what the other side of the train looks like. So you do have a proper corridor with some very nice looking lanterns, and like I said, more of those doors. So I'm going to take off the Dementor, and you can see that Lego actually carved out like a specific little place to allow the Dementor's like ghostly like bottom half to actually fit, so I appreciate that. And like I said, you can just slide this, but there's no stopper, so it can just keep sliding. And I know that it's so that the door can slide like either way, but I kind of don't like that. I think that there should be some kind of stopper included here. And I mean, sorry, there is a stopper like all the way down here and on that side, but I feel like it should open one direction, because in the movie, I don't think these doors can open either way. I think they just open one way. But that is a pretty nice print, but yeah. More prints would have been better in these sets, and like I said, I don't like how it's not like super secure because it's just sitting in like studs. So it's not like it's going to get knocked out, but it doesn't feel as nice. It feels, again, like a little bit cheap. This is a very short corridor, which is why the Trolley Witch's trolley is so tiny, but you can see she can't really fit in there. Like, she can't fit in the actual corridor with the cart because like her arms are too long. So that kind of sucks, like, if you're playing with this thing, because even though this is a collector's model, it is minifigure scale, and I think that you could have a good time playing with it. You can, like, kind of make it pretend like she's going along, like, and she's just, like, walking up there, but it's kind of difficult, and I do wish that she was able to fit, like, going down here, because I wanted to display her walking down the corridor, but there's also just not really any room for her once you throw in people like the Dementor, who take up the entire area. And I need to position that down there if I want to actually fit him in. And closing this thing up again is super easy. It just secures with a couple of studs right at the bottom, and the whole thing is smoothed off very nicely. The exterior looks great. I do love like the flame yellowish orange line running completely unbroken through here, except for on the doors. I'm not sure if it's supposed to continue on the doors. If it is, then Lego should have printed the doors. But if they don't continue on the doors in the movie, then this is fine. But again, it would have looked even better if this was pearl gold. And I do want to mention, I love the like studs not on top of building, like right here. Like, I love how this is like snot, and that is just regular building with some sideways building, because these are actually door pieces used for the windows. And then it goes back to snot, and then it goes back to studs up. Like, it's all very clean, and like the lines are so like minuscule. Like, the seams between this is like, it's so seamless. That's what I'm trying to say, especially here. Like, for that to be studs on top building and studs not on top building, and for it to connect that seamlessly is super impressive. So I had a very good time building this passenger car. It took a very long time. Like, building this passenger car probably took like half the length of the total build, and that is just a complete ballpark. I haven't actually checked because I do time my larger builds, but it was a good build experience, this one. And finally, it's time to take a look at the compartments open with the light bricks on, which I'm gonna just spoil it for you guys. It looks really nice, so let's go ahead and turn the lights off. And then we'll hit our first light brick. There it is, there's our second light brick. And then here is our third. So yeah, like I said, a very nice warm glow, and like the light does pulse a little bit. So it feels very classic and like very vintage in a way. And so if you're up like really close and you're taking a picture or a video of this, it's really nice. So I really, really like this feature, even though, like I said, I was not a huge fan of it when they first talked about it. Here are the extra pieces. As you can see, you do get a ton of extra train wheels, which is great if you want to try making your own train. There are way fewer extra pieces in Lego nowadays, I feel like, because this is not like a very big pile for a $500 set. And here is the empty sticker sheet. As you can see, there are way too many stickers. I think that this should have been printed. That's the plaque. These are the signs for platform 9 3/4. Or sorry, no, these are the signs. These four and these four, those should have been prints. All of the quote tiles should have been prints. These round tiles should have been prints. And honestly, I would have liked these clothing stickers for the trunks to be prints as well. Some stickers are okay, but for $500, Lego needs to do better than this. The box for this set is absolutely huge, but it is more of that like $400 box size. And it is very hard to show like the full scale of the set when it's so long and it's squeezed into such like a square appearance. And as you can already see on the side, we do have some really nice art of the trio. On top, we've got all of the minifigures, which is pretty nice because they are split up by the movie that they appear in. And the back of the box does a much better job of showing off the entire set, which again, like even this picture, like I liked this picture, but this, like seeing this in real life is just so much better. Oh, and there we go. It's 46.5 inches long. I knew it was like 48 or something. And then if you spin it around, you've also got a little thing about like welcome to Hogwarts with a picture of the ticket. There are 4 instruction manuals for this set. The first one builds the locomotive, and you do have information in all of these about about the train, of course, and about the movies. And I really love reading these manuals. There is so much interesting stuff in them, and it helps remind you of stuff if you're like me and you haven't seen the movies in a while. You do also have an advertisement for the paper bags in here. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I wish Lego would stop wasting money on advertising this stuff when it is clearly not happening anytime soon, because they've now been advertising those bags since like summer of 2022 is when they started including pamphlets. And again, not one person worldwide that I've seen has gotten a paper bag yet. Then we've got the tender car and the track. And I thought that there was more. I thought that there were more like little things about the movies, but I guess not. I guess the movie information is only in the main manual. This is by far the biggest manual for the passenger car, and then we end with the station. So in the end, I like this set way more than I expected to. Like I don't know, I still have problems with the concept and with its execution, but it's just like that feeling that I talk about in my other Harry Potter reviews. Like Lego Harry Potter just does everything so much better than other themes. And maybe it's just because Harry Potter has been like my favorite franchise for a really long time, but I think that this set has really impressed me, and it's left me with many more positive feelings than negative ones, whereas when it was revealed I had a lot more negative feelings. And the same thing happened to me with the Hogwarts Icon set from last year, which I did not review yet, but I will do eventually. I also didn't like that set when it was revealed, but like this is the kind of stuff that appeals to me, like huge collector's items that are made out of Lego, because I like getting collector's items, but I am much more into Lego. So when Lego does bridge the two, it really speaks to me. That being said, I still think that this set has too many problems for a $500 set. I don't think it's really worth the $500, but honestly, it's not as bad as I thought. $400 for this set, I think, would be an excellent price, but it might be like a little bit low. So I think the original rumor was $480, which would be better than $500, but like $450 is kind of like where I think it should have been priced, because I think the train station gives you like, let's say $100 to $120 of value. Let's say the locomotive is $120, the tender is $50, and I'll say the passenger car is like $150. So that brings you to like $220, and then throw in the track and like, $420, and then throw in the track, and I think that $450 is a decent price. But yeah, like it should have been dark red with gold instead of being regular red with flame yellowish orange, or regular red with gold. But like, I really don't like the flame yellow color. I don't like how small the train station is. For $500, that platform really should have 3 complete archways, or just 1 complete archway. Like it could have been smaller. Like it could have just ended on like the sides of the pillars over there, and I think that it still would have been really good. But the way that they did it, like this way, is just kind of like super awkward, and I don't love it. But it does have 20 minifigures. Some of those minifigures are a huge letdown. I think that the epilogue minifigures are a total missed opportunity. Harry is perfect, Ginny is okay, the kids just seem like afterthoughts. And the lack of Ron or Hermione really brings the set down in the minifigure department. It's absolutely inexcusable that they aren't here. They would be perfect for this scene. This is the perfect time and place to do them. Like, yeah, we could get them in a minifigure series or something, but I don't think any minifigure series is planned right now. And they would still be out of place in a minifigure series. So they really should have been in this set. All of the other minifigures are pretty good, though. I love the couple new face prints we get, but I would have preferred more. I'm not really bothered by the lack of printed legs on a lot of these figures. When you're getting 20 minifigures, the lack of printed legs is okay. Lego, when you're only giving us one bad Tony Stark minifigure in the Hulkbuster, that's when it's not okay. And yeah, I am comparing this to the Hulkbuster a lot in my head now that it's been revealed, because Marvel and Harry Potter are my two favorite Lego themes. And these are both $500, or in the Hulkbuster's case, $500 plus sets. And so that's why I said at the start of the video that after the Hulkbuster, I appreciate this set even more, because that set to me is just a failure on every level, basically. Whereas this set, there's things I don't like about it, but all in all, it is a huge, like, minifigure scale Hogwarts Express. It is something that people have been asking for a very long time, and I like it. I do like it quite a bit. Like I said, I would love another passenger car, but that would make this way too long. I've just realized that it's already 47 inches. There's not really any place for me to put it in this apartment, but I'll find one. So I also get why they didn't add another passenger car, because it would just be insanely big, and I like the size of everything. I'm glad that they didn't make it smaller than this. So that pretty much sums up my thoughts on this set. I think that if you're a huge Harry Potter fan, you'll like it. But I think that, like, you shouldn't buy it just for display, because I think it's also great to play with. And so I do think that, like, if you're buying this set and if you have like a kid, or if you have like a younger sibling or cousin or something, like, you guys can really enjoy it together, because this thing is a collector's item, but it really is built like a toy in certain ways, to the points where it's not super fragile, and I think that you definitely could play with it, which is something that's cool, but it's also not cool, because like I said, then the building process just feels like you're building a smaller Hogwarts Express. But yeah, that's enough of my thoughts on this set. Please let me know what you guys think about it in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well, and check out my website, goldenninja3000.com, and I'll see you guys in more videos soon. Bye for now.